Hey everyone, how's it going? My name's Cloud, and welcome to my personal VOD reviews of Locals. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at Game 2 of Week 3 of the OP10 Meta, where I play Green Yellow Yamato versus Red Green Smoker. Here's the deck list that I played in this match, and if you haven't already done so, please go check out the Locals retro video I made that covers this deck list and my overall thoughts on how Locals went this week. Without further ado, let's hop into the game. Alright, we've got game number 2 for week 3 of the OP10 meta. I'm playing Green Yellow Yamato versus Red Green Smoker. In fact, this is actually my second rematch of the night. I played against this opponent during week 1, so I'm really excited to see if I've improved at all or learned anything from our first match. In that first match, I think I lost because I was just too focused on clearing their board instead of going a little bit more aggro at their life, so hoping to do a little better this time around. If you want to check out how that match went, it was game 4 of week 1, so go ahead and check that out. Going into the dice roll here, high roll as usual, my opponent rolls a 9, and then once I finish shuffling, we'll get to my dice roll. This video is only about, 10 minutes long, so I don't think I'm going to times 2. Just makes it easier for me to commentate a bit. I roll a 8. Yikes. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to pick what turn I go, and my opponent, I think, decides to go first, so puts me on the even curve, which is a little tougher for Yamato. But knowing that, we're going to try to get a good hand for going second. Let's see what our initial hand is. We've got 4 cost Kikunojo, 2 cost Onami, 2 cost Tonoyasu, 5 cost Nami, and 2 cost Buzzcut Mochi. Let's do a quick counter check. We've got a 1k here, 1k here, and another 1k here. Yikes, that's only 3k counter total in my hand. That's very low. I don't even see a 2k counter, which is pretty scary, since it just means that if they decide to attack hard at my life in the early game, I'm either gonna have to give up my hand or just take the hit early. But on the bright side, I do see my 2 starting cards. I see Onami and Tonoyasu. Both of these work really well with my leader, whether individually or in combination, so happy to see those 2 at least. Let's see if I decide to keep it. My opponent decides to keep their opening hand, and it looks like I also decide to keep my initial hand, so let's see how this goes. Fist bump to start the game. My opponent goes 1 Dawn and plays out Onami. Lets him search the top 5 for a Straw Hat card. Let's see what they decide to do. I will tell you that when I go second, I really do like to see both Onami and Tonoyasu in hand. I'll explain in a bit, but from their Nami search, my opponent gets the Tony Chopper from OP10 and then passes the turn. Goes to my turn, I get 2 Dawn and draw for the turn. I drew a Blaze Slice. I tap 2 Dawn and play Tonoyasu and pass the turn. My opponent goes up to 3 Dawn and he taps 1 Dawn to play another Nami. Okay. Lots of searching going on his side. He takes another Tony Chopper from OP10. And then he plays a 3rd Nami. Wow, that's 3 searches in a row. He takes the 2 cost Sanji from OP10 as well. With his last down, he attaches it to his leader and hits me for 6k. This is what I was worried about. So, pause right here real quick. So because I didn't have a 2k in hand, my opponent attacked me for 6k, which means I either have to give up 2 1ks in hand or I have to take the life. If I give up, 2 cards in hand, I go from 6 cards down to 4, and that's not great, especially when the counters I have in my hand were the Tonoyasu, the Nami, and actually, in fact, I played out the Tonoyasu, sorry, so it's only Onami and 5 cost Nami in hand, so I only had 5 cards and I would have gone down to 3 cards in hand. Not great. That's why I decided to take the hit, but Passes back to me. I go up to 4 Dawn. I drew another Buzzcut Mochi. I decide to pop my Tonoyasu, activating his main ability to give my leader plus 3000 power for the turn. I tap 2 Dawn to play Onami, giving my leader banish, and then I attach my last 2 Dawn to my leader, allowing me to hit my opponent's life for 10k double attack banish. And my opponent gives, what was that, 3 2ks. Crazy. And this is why I think I decided to keep my opening hand. When I go second, I really like to see the Onami and the Tonoyasu. The reason is because turn 1, I'm at 2 Dawn, so I can use it to play out the Tonoyasu and set up my turn, my following turn. Because on 4 Dawn, right, as you saw, I just used 2 Dawn to play Onami to give my leader banish. Then I can pop my Tonoyasu to give my leader plus 3k. And then finally with my last 2 Dawns, I can attach it to give it give my leader an additional 2k. So in total, that's 5k power on my leader. And then with double attack, I can just go really hard at their life for a 10k double attack banish. And they didn't play any blockers, so this means they just had to give up a bunch of cards in hand or give up their life. In this case, my opponent decided to give up 3 2k counters. That's a lot, so I just burned a good amount of defensive capabilities from their hand. Overall, good play for me. Unfortunately, I didn't bring them down to 3 or less life, but that's fine. I attacked his hand, so I'm gonna know that he probably doesn't have too many 2k counters. Turn passes to them, they're at 5 Dawn. They tap all 5 to play the Monkey D. Luffy from starter deck 21. Allows him to attach a rested Dawn to leader a character. He attaches it to the Luffy and then swings at my leader for 7k. At this point, I can either counter or just have to take the hit. I only have 3k counter in hand, so I decided to take the hit. Unfortunately, it was a Nekomamushi, but because they're at 4 life, I cannot trigger. And then they use Smoker's ability to restand 2 Dawns, attaches it to leader, and it swings at me for 7. And at that point, I decide to counter out for 2k and 1k. My turn again. I'm now at 6 Dawn. I have Nami in hand, Onami in hand, Kikunojo in hand, 2 Buzz Cuts, and a Blaze Slice. Right now, my position's not looking too hot. I don't have any good characters on board. My opponent still has full life, and I'm already down to 2 life. So looks like I tap 2 Dawn to give my leader banish, attach my 4 Dawn to my leader, and decide to go 9k double attack banish at my opponent, knowing that they don't have too much counter in hand after the previous turn. So they decide to take the hit, banishing 2 life, bringing them down to 2. And then because they went under 3 life, I was able to use leader ability to attach 2 Dawn to my Nami and just swing at them for 5k, which they end up taking. So they went down to 1 life. Really good for me. That was a huge swing. They still have a really wide board, but you know, because they gave up a lot of counter the previous turn, I was able to, you know, take a lot of life away from them. Now the worry is, if they decide to swing a lot of low numbers at me, I'm gonna have to just counter out of everything, which is tough. Maybe I should have, real quick before he does his play, I had Blaze Slice in hand. Maybe I should have just kept 1 Dawn active instead of attaching all 3 of my active Dawn, or sorry, all 4 of my active Dawn to my leader, just in case I needed to play it in order to give my leader plus 1000 power for the turn. This is just important because they did play out 3 Namis, and so if he decides to attach 3 Dawn, 3 Dawn, 3 Dawn for some reason, you know, I'll at least be able to get out of those swings. It's very unlikely that they do that, but sometimes people do. So we'll see if it comes to bite me in the butt here. They are at 7 Dawn. They separated their Dawns to 2 and 5. They just have Monkey D. Luffy on board and 3 1-cost Namis. but they only have 4 cards in hand. The back-to-back Onami hits was really punishing. They had to counter out of the first one and then couldn't counter out of the second one. So all those cards from life didn't go into hand, they just went straight to trash. So now he's really having to think about how he wants to use his Dawn for this turn. I have a total of 5 cards in hand with 2 life still, but I have no board really. I just have 2 Onamis. I mean, 2 Dawns makes them a 5k attack, but you know, that's Dawn that I have to invest into that. My opponent is still thinking here. What's it gonna be, sir? Might speed this up a little bit here. Okay. My opponent decides to just swing a small 5k attack with their leader at my life. And I decide to counter. Then my opponent decides to swing 6k with the Lofi. I take this one, no trigger, but I do get X-Drake, which is a 2k counter. That's very nice. Yeah, at this point, I'm looking at my hand. Let's pause real quick. I'm looking at my hand. All I have is a 2k counter. He has still 6 Dawn up, and then not to mention he has Smoker's ability, which allows him to restand 2 Dawn. So my worry here is that he decides to, I don't know, do something that lets him play out a character, or just spend 2 Dawn, I guess. Restand those 2 Dawns, and then use those 6 Dawns, attach it to 2 Namis, you know, making 2 5Ks. I still live at that point, but I'd have to give up, you know, counter in hand. This is why I'm thinking maybe the Nami, or sorry, keeping 1 Dawn up for the Blaze Slice might have been the play last turn. But yeah, I was just kind of worried here that he'd somehow figure out a way to get past the amount of cards, the amount of counter in my hand, and my last life. This is a red deck, so you never know how they can just suddenly boost their character's power. Oh, they actually had 7 Dawn. They didn't even use one. So could have been, I don't know, a 5 and a 6 at me. They play something for 2 Dawn. Alright, looks like they tap 5 Dawn and play out another ST21 5-cost Luffy, using that one's ability to attach 1 Rested Dawn to the Luffy, making him a 7k, and he goes 7k at my life. I decide to take it. It's a Blaze Slice trigger, and I choose not to use it. I don't know why, but... oh, that's right. Okay, he attaches 4 Dawn, attaches 4 Dawn to the Nami and attacks me for 6k, and fortunately I had the 2k to get out of that. But I'm gonna pause real quick there. I think I chose not to trigger the Blaze Slice because it doesn't matter which one of these Namis I end up resting, he could just attach the Dawn to the other Namis. So, keeping in hand, sure, there's no point of triggering it. Just a small comment. Turn passes back to me. I draw for the turn, it's an Izo, and I go up to 8 Dawn. My opponent only has 1 life, 4 cards in hand, no blockers. So I'm feeling pretty confident here. I can maybe go for the win, and I'm seeing it now. I see the play. I'm not gonna say it yet. I'll let the play happen before I, say anything. I'm really trying to think, is there a way for me to win the game? I do have 3 attacks. I just need to attach 2 Dawn to Nami, to both Onamis. So that would be 4 Dawn to make them attackers. It would only leave me though with 4 Dawn. So I could potentially go 5-7-7. I can go 5-5-9. If I don't want to use 3 attacks, I can do maybe something else. But I tap 1 Dawn to play Blaze Slice, and I give actually my Nami plus 1000 power, and I rest one of their Namis. I play another Blaze Slice for 1 Dawn, give the same Nami plus 2k or plus 1k. I attach 2 Dawn to that Onami, and I attack my opponent for 7k with Onami. They decide to take it. And now they have 5 cards in hand. I still have 4 Dawn up. And I decide to just try 9k with my leader, and I got it! Wow. Let's see what their cards in hand were. It looks like it was just a 1k, 1k, and a 1k. So perfectly 8k in hand, no other counter. So I was able to get it with the 9k leader attack. Yeah. Sweet. I was gonna say something, but let's just see if anything else happens. Nope. Okay. So really quickly, just want to go back to that last turn there. There was something that my opponent and I discussed that probably would have been a more optimal play. I played the 2 Blaze Slices for 2 Dawn, giving my Onami 2k here total. And for some reason, I decided to attach 2 active Dawn to that Onami in order to make it a 7k attack. When the more, optimal play would have been to keep those active Dawns around and use my leader ability to give the 2 rested Dawns to my Onami. So it would have just meant that I'm still doing a 7k attack here with the Onami, but I would have had 6 Dawn up. And at that point, my opponent, has to figure out what I'm potentially doing with the 6 Dawn. I could split it between the Onami and my leader, or, in this case, I could have just swung even higher with my leader, just attaching all 6 Dawn to my leader to make Yamato an 11k attack. And this would have been a better play. My opponent did have 5 cards in hand. As you can see, it was a 1k, 1k, 1k. If one of those or 2 of those was a 2k, or, those last 2 bricks that he had were somehow counter, I would have, lost the game there pretty much, because he would have countered out of the big swing, and then now I'm really risking it with just a 5k attack with Nami if I just use the rested Dawn to go there. So small, optimization I could do, but in the end I still won. But that's gonna do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Until next time, remember, keep your minds fresh and your spirits free. See ya.